James Blake. James, yesterday we talked with my colleague that what kind of music we enjoy in our playlist most, and I enjoy instrumental music, so musicians that play instruments, and she thought I enjoy all this electronic stuff, but both we agree that your music is something we should definitely not miss. So let me ask you the first question. When I wrote the news about your new album and so on, I wrote that the name is Radio Silence, but then you changed the title to The Color and Anything. So is there any story behind this, why you changed the name of the album?
It was just to wrong fit you. Just to, no. I was to get it in line with where the music was going. Hello everyone, by the way. Sorry, this is getting straight into it. When I first started writing the record, I had all these ideas of it being this kind of quite aggressive, collab-led, quite hip-hoppy record, maybe. And as time went on and my life became the subject of the music, that didn't make sense anymore, and there were certain collaborations that didn't happen, and I was like, well, this no longer feels like the track that represents everything, and also the artwork kind of came from that as well. Then the artwork that we'd actually got commissioned for another piece of music became the thing that made sense about this album. So we used that artwork in the end.
Okay, thanks for the answer. And now there's place for your questions. So, anyone?
So, James, hello.
Hello.
I wonder, after releasing the second album, you said you felt exhausted. So I wonder how you felt after releasing the third one. Is the cycle, the process, same or similar in your case, or was it completely different?
No, exhausted again. Just exhausted in a different way, maybe more exhausted. Although this was a sort of slower burning exhaustion. It took longer to make, and it was maybe a part of my life that involved more growth, even more than the second one. It's interesting that I've been making these records at a really crucial point in my life. It was, I think that over the course of making these three records, I've kind of I've had to work things out in my personal life considerably, and the records have played a part in doing that. They've been kind of an outlet for that, and a kind of way of, how in your sleep you kind of sort through memories, and you kind of prune your experiences. I think I also did that, but in music I've found another outlet for that. So this 3 years was an even longer and more intense period of pruning, shall we say.
So, anyone else? Marek?
Hello, James.
Hello.
I'd like to ask, a lot of journalists called your last album a romantic one. Do you agree?
Yes. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
In what sense?
In the sense that there are a lot of love songs. When I say that they're love songs, then they're not love songs like Red Red Wine, or like they're not. I mean, I don't know. Thinking of they're kind of not necessarily obviously love songs, all of them, but a lot of them are, and I guess I'm not sure if that's because I don't deliberately obscure things. That's just how they come out. But yeah.
I have another question. Why did you want Quentin Blake to make illustrations for your album?
Well, I touched on that. We originally commissioned him to do something for what was going to be a piano EP. I was going to do this thing separate from the album, and I didn't think that it would suit this album until all the music was made, and then suddenly the artwork made a lot of sense. And I thought, and we weren't going to put there was no piano EP anymore. So then we thought, right, okay, what should we use this for? And I thought it was now perfect, because the music became reflective and kind of not as bolshy as I thought it was going to be.
It was a bit surprising for me though, because a person who like that did illustrations for Roald Dahl books, for children books, also made like illustrations for...
Yeah, I should also say I'm a huge fan of his, and I was a huge fan of Roald Dahl growing up, and his illustrations were definitely they were set in my mind. They were just right at the back of my mind for my whole childhood, and into my adulthood. And my mum's a huge fan of him, and she's an illustrator and graphic designer too. So I feel like I've done her proud. And Quentin is amazing. He's an amazing person. It was a pleasure. I went and met him and hung out at his studio for a second, and that was great. So yeah, all round, couldn't have picked somebody better to do the artwork. And there's so many layers to the artwork. If you look closely, there's things that you don't notice the first time.
Yeah, there is a woman body like in the trees.
Yeah. That's one of the things I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the main thing. It's the main thing I'm talking about. But in both trees, you'll find them. But there's just like a playfulness to his. It's a moody piece of art, but it's playful. I love it.
Hi James,
hello,
nice to have you here.
Nice
so
to be here.
You are at the biggest Slovak music festival, and I saw your gig maybe a few years ago in Vienna at Electronic Beats, and my question is, do you feel more like big festival artist, or do you prefer performances in front of smaller crowd of people?
I definitely don't feel like a big festival artist. I don't know. I think we're occupying slots now that could go either way. Like I haven't got any experience of playing big slots like this until this summer, really. So I don't know. In the forefront of my mind is how it appears to the audience. So if these kind of slots were not right, then I would try and take different slots. But at the moment, it seems that the best time for us to play is at night, and we normally, if we're kind of playing closer to headline slots, then we get nighttime slots. So that works for me. Whether the size of the crowd being bigger is easier, probably not, because it reminds me of something that Joni Mitchell said about not being able to reach the back of the crowd with her kind of slower, more reflective songs. I sometimes have that problem, and that we have to sometimes, change the set based on the fact that people are going to just be talking, or there's not the intimacy you get with like a small gig. But at the same time, you get the sprawl of people that you get at like rave, which means that you can play dance music and people get involved, and it's just a different feel, and our shows are quite different at festivals.
Alexander?
Hello, James.
Hello.
I have not only one, but first of all, strange question. How would you describe your music to our parents and grandparents? Because they always ask about what music do you listen to?
Right.
And they have no clue about modern music, so how would you describe James Blake to them?
Well, there was it's difficult because when you say something like electronic songs, or if you even use the word electronic, there's something attached to that now, which probably doesn't describe my music. So. I wouldn't try it. I wouldn't bother. To be honest.
And what about your mom?
Just what I do find with older people, my parents included, is that when you play them music, I mean, describing music to them is normally, you know, the musical, like the blog criticism and like the kind of thing really. And I think that it's within our kind of generation that people would require music to be explained to them before they actually hear it, or like they want to see a score out of 10 that represents how good the album is before they listen to it. I think the older generation probably just want to hear it and they'll make their own mind up, which probably is a healthier thing.
And about music journalism, it's obviously framed because every interview is like common questions. And what questions are most annoying for you, and what questions would you like to talk about?
The meta question.
Yeah.
What questions are most annoying? Well, I mean, explaining yourself in a way that is easily Googleable is normally the thing that's annoying. But to be honest, wherever you go, there's going to be somebody who hasn't heard of you and might not care. So I'm not sure if you know, I don't do that many interviews, so I don't get annoyed very often. You know, if I had to do like 30 interviews in a day, you know, those kind of like junket things where you go out and promote something, then I'd probably get annoyed because I'd be like, oh god, do I have to explain what dubstep is to you, or do I have to explain what this is to you? But again, you know, for the 10th, 15th time, but I don't really ever have to. And also, the kinds of people who interview me, like you guys, seem to care and know about music and generally are very nice, so I don't have any problems.
Thank you. And one more romantic question. If you can describe your music...
I know, I'm afraid I'm taking...
No, that's it, I'm sorry. If you can describe your music using an animal, what would it be and why?
My music as an animal?
Yeah.
Eeyore.
Really? And why?
Eeyore's not strictly an animal. I mean, it's not an animal, that he is an animal, but no, I don't know, I can't think of one. What would you say?
I'll text you later. Thank you.
Behind you. Sorry for not having wireless microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
Your music is full of sounds and full of silence. What does silence mean for you in music?
Not. I don't really know. I only did one song where there was a noticeable gap in sound, and that was "Limit Your Love." And after that, I guess I didn't really do that again, particularly. And then I became kind of synonymous with this, because it became like a journalist thing to say about the, you know, love of silence and stuff like that. But actually, you know, I prefer listening to music than listening to nothing, and I prefer something to be there than nothing to be there, as long as that something is good. But you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to be the silence guy or anything. It's just something I did once.
Okay, and how do you feel in color according to your last album.
Do I feel like I'm in colour?
Yes. Once you said that you don't want to be seen like a suffering artist anymore.
Right. Well, what I said actually was that I wanted to escape the perpetual cycle of drawing on like sadness and like depression and things like that. Well, as in, there is almost like a romantic idea of an artist that keeps themselves that way, and never really truly deals with the things that are making them feel that way. They just kind of use it as material. And I'm not saying that everybody who's an artist who does that is a cynical person, but what I'm saying is that to me it's more important to be a happy person in the long run than it is to keep making albums that people will be able to empathise with. Like and if anything, I think people empathise with your worldview and your view of life, not necessarily the problems you write about. And I just think it's for an artist who, and you will find that most artists are, and musicians, I can't speak for everybody, but I know a lot that are prone to getting into a rut and prone to being prone to depression, prone to things like that, and mental health is something that, especially in my country, people don't really talk about, and it's important that that's not viewed as as your strength. You know, that is something that holds you back. It's not your character. It's not who you are. Those things that hold you back are not part of your personality. They're something that will put upon you by nurture in whatever way. And anxiety, depression never helped me make music. They only held me back. So by pursuing a better state of mind, what I'm saying is that artists should not fear losing their fan base or losing people's interest, or they should just pursue it for to be where other people are sometimes, which is to not have to feel like that all the time.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you, how do you think the Brexit would affect the British music? What kind of impact do you expect from it?
God. Oh God. I mean, I went a few days without thinking about that. I'm just so disappointed in that vote. I really am. I regret I regret that there was a referendum. I was really lucky in my timing of when I started doing this, because I was able to come to Europe, to Eastern Europe, to all over Europe, to DJ and to play live on a shoestring budget, without needing to get a visa for every country and collect visas in my house, without the financial pressure that will surely come from needing to apply for certain things. And as a result, I met so many people, so many friends who I now go back to in all these different countries, promoters, friends of promoters, new friends that I met at parties or festivals or whatever, who I still am in contact with. I've had relationships in other countries, you know, had experiences with people that I never would have had probably otherwise. And that's just me. So I think of the thousands, millions of young people in England who might want to set up a business in another country, or they might want to tour, or they might want to just visit, and it's just making things just that bit harder and might discourage people from understanding other people's way of life and understanding other people and developing empathy. There's no empathy in that vote, to me. It highlights a lack of empathy in our culture. And actually that goes back to the topic of mental health. That's part of the problem. So it's by which I mean, you know, when you as a culture are not able to talk about mental health, then it's difficult to argue that empathy is strong, you know. And so yeah, I feel sorry for the next generation of kids who won't be able to do, or will be discouraged from doing the things that I was able to do. So I was firmly in the Remain camp, and I feel European, because most of my life has been lived, since I was 20, most of my life has been lived in Europe and America, and around the world, you know. And that whole attitude of, you know, kind of keep them out, you know, and we don't want to be involved, is the same kind of attitude that some people had when Jamaicans arrived in England and Indian people arrived in England, and their influence on English culture has been massive. Personally, for me, you know, Jamaican music has been a huge part of my musical upbringing. So there's a kind of to then say, well, you know, yeah, but that's fine, but I don't want Syrian people coming in, or I don't want these people coming in. There's kind of huge hypocrisy, or it would be for me if I was to say that. So yeah, it's a complex subject, and with our country, I definitely don't feel represented by that decision. But I wasn't too surprised, if I'm honest.
And soon, in a way, we should expect a new album to be some kind of reaction to it?
Anti-Brexit situation, yeah.
Some kind of statement.
I've never really, you know, it's funny because I've never really done a political record.
It's time.
Yeah, maybe it's time, 27, it's the year. Okay, yeah.
Hey James.
Hello.
This is going to be a simple question actually. Speaking of the big festivals and big names, there's lots of huge names, huge superstars that love your music, I guess they like you personally, and they like your work, guys like Kanye West, Madonna, and so on, so on. So how does that make you feel after the third album? And on the other hand, do you feel a certain responsibility to live up to the expectations while working on the third album?
No, I don't. No, I don't feel any expectation from that, because you know there's the people that have been kind enough to follow me and to, you know, publicly talk about liking my music were into the music that I made with less self-consciousness. So I guess I should keep that. Also, I mean, I'm already hyper-aware of all the criticisms of my work and all of the you know where my music sits in the world. So I couldn't be any more self-conscious, I don't think, about that. I mean, after 3 albums and reading reviews, and you really open Pandora's box, and you once that door's open, you know what people think. And but so if anything, it gives me confidence when other musicians are, you know, shouting in my corner. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one more thing about the new album. Some people love it, some people hate the fact that it's quite long.
Yeah, loads of people hate the fact it's quite long. It's too, I mean, it is too long.
Well, there are, you know, other musicians that just released quite a long album, guys like Craig and others. So, is this a new thing, you know, to make longer albums than usual, than before? Or did you just want to release it longer?
You know what, I got to a point with this record where I thought I was never going to finish it, and I thought, I just need to put this music out. My thinking was, anybody who's a fan is not going to be complaining that there's too much music. Most people probably are not going to be, after the first or second time listening to this as a 17-track piece, I think most people will probably just rifle through it and pick the favourite tunes and just play the tunes. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that the album's dead, but what I'm saying is that for me, it was personally worth it to receive the criticism for releasing a long record, to absolve myself of the responsibility for certain pieces of music which I wanted to release, but I didn't want to wait to release.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi. What was it like to cooperate with Beyonce?
Cooperate with Beyonce is an interesting word. It almost, yeah, no, it was great. It was great. It was a really new experience for me because I haven't done a lot of music in big studios. I haven't done a lot of work in big studios. I did a little bit for my record, you know, like a month or a couple of months, month and a half. But the experience of going in and kind of writing in the way that somebody at that level might write, I mean, I don't know, it's quite hard to explain what I mean. It's a pop machine that's happening, and I plugged in for a little minute, and it was really fun. And I got to do something that I never would otherwise do. I got to write in a way I might not otherwise write. I actually used her melody and brought in my phone and read off some lyrics and sang some stuff. And she really liked it, and then I sat at the piano and tried something out. And I did a lot of stuff that was quite out there that they ended up kind of using, which I was I was surprised actually. I thought that it would be a little bit more regimented. I thought there would be more cooperation, but it ended up being very free, and they used almost everything I did. So.
Sorry, just two last questions because there will be sound check in a while. So.
Hi James, when we talk about corporations, if you could choose one name, who would it be?
Oh, to cooperate with?
Yeah.
Europe.
And the last one next to you.
Hi James, my name is Susanna, I'm from Alter Echo magazine, and I would like to ask you about videos, because I wonder if you plan any videos for some song from your new album, because the past single Overgrown had quite impressive video by Nabil Elderkin, and maybe if you can tell a little bit more about the work with him.
Yeah, Nabil is a friend of mine, and we've known each other for a while now. We met on, actually when did we meet? It's a long time ago now, so I'm struggling to even remember where we met, but we we've done a few videos together, and it's always really fun to work with him. He is a very he's a strong personality. He's a kind of he's very good at what he does, basically, and he's a very good photographer. In fact he's an excellent photographer, and a lot of his work in photography hasn't really been seen just yet. I would like him to show off more of it because it is amazing where he's been and the countries he's visited and documented and stuff. And I see him as a documenter, you know, or documentarian, but he is normally there when something is happening and normally documenting it. And as they say, it's where you are, you know, that counts. Yeah, with videos in general, I don't know. I mean, this record I just chose not to do any because I'd written all this music, and then this music meant a certain thing to me. Each song meant something to me, and by putting a video to it, it kind of changes the meaning of the song. And you know, I understand that it helps sell the song and the record and stuff, but I don't really care about that. And I would like to just have my creation be the thing that people buy, you know, not have to be attached to somebody else's vision of something, which happens like within 2 weeks, like at the end of the whole process. But it just makes me angry when I get these kind of treatments sent to me, and I'm like, you just had an idea about 6 months ago that you've been wanting to use for a while, and now I've given you a song that you can use it for. You know, this is a song for your video, not the other way around. And that happens a lot. And I work too hard on my music. I'm too particular, and I put so much of myself into it to then have it attached to somebody else. I'm just like, no. So no videos this time, apart from the UVA thing we did for Forest Fire, which I specifically wanted to be a artistic, expressive thing that was fairly abstract and didn't no narrative, please. That was the kind of brief.
Okay, so as you can see, we don't have more wire. We don't have more time. So.
Well, I mean, what time's my sound check? I could do a couple more.
I think that I don't know. Half past 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we're good. We'll do a couple more. So.
Okay, so we don't have more.
Well, it's just there's just loads of people in here, and I don't want to disappoint.
Yeah. So, who's next? If you can just speak louder.
Okay. So, since your debut, it's been a long time, but you've made a big evolution since that. And do you feel that change in yourself inside, that you're more nature now, or like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What have you felt some time ago, and what do you feel now?
What's changed? Well, I'm not as lonely. Got a girlfriend. Got one of those. Yeah, I mean, look, the first record was a pretty lonely sounding record, and I was quite a lonely person, I think. And the second record was the first time that I'd fallen in love and had a long-term relationship. And so obviously there are teething problems with yourself, and you can realise things about yourself that maybe have gone untended to for a long time. And so yeah, and then in the third one, I really realised that, and I really had to work on things, and I really had to kind of self-analyse a little bit, which is never easy to do, and most people don't like doing that, and some people avoid it forever, and I chose to do it early, before I run into, you know, buying a supercar and having affairs with baristas. That was a tenuous thing to say about the cliche of the midlife crisis, but anyway, you get what I'm saying.
And do you realize that you're kind of a new symbol of a new generation of alternative singers or idols of girls, of these girls? Do you realize that you are such a...
I didn't realise that at all. I mean, there is not a... When I said I was hyper self-aware, it's more about the work, you know. It's a lot harder for me to have a perspective on everybody else, and how, you know, you see it when you do a live show, but then you don't know how many people at the festival know you. Like, I walk around, generally no one notices me, so I'm happy about that. But I'm not, you know, there's not like an easy gauge for me to tell the impact of what I'm doing, but I appreciate it. I'm happy that people like it.
Yeah,
thanks.
Someone else?
So once you mentioned, I think that you know that the song is finished when you can play to someone and you feel happy about it. So I wonder who these people are. Can you tell us?
Well, my mum is a good one. My dad. Friends who have heard a lot of my music before and have been involved. And then people, I mean, I've actually played music to taxi drivers in the past to see what they thought. That actually wasn't very useful, but I did it anyway. And then, yeah, like peers, I guess. People who inspire me and have kind of, I've been lucky enough to meet and hang out with. Justin is a good one for that. Justin Burnham. I can play him things, and if I get a reaction, then normally it's that I've been playing my strong suit.
Anyone else?
Okay.
Go. Oh,
Anyone?
sorry.
Okay. So, how does it feel to write the songs for your lady, or like how does she feel about you? Is it like more difficult for you to like make songs and actually like reveal everything about yourself, your feelings? Was this more like difficult for you than the album that where you felt lonely, or?
No, it's easier than being lonely. I think it is difficult sometimes to write lyrics down, knowing that they're about someone, and worry that they might see your phone or, you know, find out your deepest thoughts about a situation. But ultimately, we have a really honest relationship. I mean, I'm really honest with her anyway, so it's not normally a problem. But yeah, it can be a little bit exposing. But this whole thing is exposing. I mean, look at me. I'm sat in front of like 40 people, telling them I was lonely. You know, like the whole thing is an exercise in overexposure. there's no, nobody said it was going to be a completely private life, and I've been lucky really to avoid feeling too exposed. But with making music, you know, I've written songs about friends and told them that the song was about them, and like The Colour in Anything is about a close friend, and yeah, I guess it becomes part of your personality. People know that that's your way of processing what happens to you, so it's not a surprise anymore to them. And also they think that, you know, once you start making money out of music, people start going, oh no, there is a point. There is a point to all this. You know, he's making a career out of criticising the people around him. No, but you know what I mean. It's like people feel like it's justified a little bit when you say things that you feel like it wouldn't be anyway. I mean.
Yeah, but still you can sing about sunshine and stuff. But if you chose to sing about your close relatives. So.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio and there's this guy who said, all of my music is inspired by the sun. And he was, I can't remember where he was from. He was a guitarist, and I thought, wow, that's incredible. I wish all of my music was inspired by the sun. I would just sit there looking at it all day, and if that was enough to make music, talk about, you know, an endless source of inspiration. That's going to last billions of years. You know, for me, it's like I need something new to happen. Yeah, next album maybe.
Oh, there is one.
Hi, as you already said, you are kind of sitting here in a room full of journalists, music journalists, and kind of exposed. So, how do you think the role of music journalism has changed over the years? And do you think it's changed, or is there a new role?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you actually read anything?
Yeah, totally, yeah. Well, just like with music, more bad writers get through, and more, you know, comments that I don't want to hear are said, and that's just part of the internet and the way it is, and it's kind of democratic, and I'm okay with that. In amongst all of the music that has the influx of people making music themselves and uploading it to SoundCloud or whatever, there's some great stuff. So it's and I was one of those people. You know, I profited from the internet and being able to have exposure through the internet. In fact, I pretty much came up on the internet, so I can't complain. But at the end of the day, it's like it is. Yeah, there are some articles that you read and you go, wow, that would just never make a publication. But then I don't know how many people are reading it. I don't know what the actual influence, real life influence of that blog is. It's pretty difficult to tell. It's a little bit like Spotify sales and streams. It's like, well, who knows? Who knows what's actually going on? Because I certainly don't.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I should say it gave rise to some. It gave a platform to some young journalists who are really good as well. I'm not just negative. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, is there any place that you haven't been so far and you would like to go there? It's not just only about concerts, but in general.
Yeah, Jamaica. I'd really like to go to. I'd like to play in Jamaica, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. We haven't got any bookings. I'd like to go. Where would I like to go? I mean, Russia. I'd like to see. I know it's strange time to go. thing is, with these places, there are places you need to see, regardless of your political affiliation or the way you feel about the government there. Or, you know, I went to Tel Aviv in Israel, had an amazing time, and met a lot of kids who just wanted peace, and who just wanted to treat everybody the same, and just wanted to listen to music and dance. So, you know, I recognise that there's going to be places that there are fans. I mean, I'm not allowed to go to China, for example. I'd love to, but I'm not allowed to go to mainland China because of a gig that we played for Free Tibet. So you make a choice, you know. Do I want to play with Philip Glass and Laurie Anderson and Lou Reed on stage to defend something I believe in, or do I not? And I chose to do it. But yeah, I'm sorry, not to make it all political, but you know, a lot of the places that I would like to, because I've been bloody everywhere, so like I would like to go to the places that we haven't been booked, basically.
Okay, so thank you. As you can see, our artwork and festival are really colorful, and so is your music, so it's really great having you with us.
It's a great lineup.
Yeah, thank you. It's 20th anniversary, so we tried hard. So looking forward to your performance and to your reviews of the performance. And have a nice.
So am I.
Thank you.